4 human beings are about to strap themselves to the top of the most powerful machine ever built by mankind and fire themselves into the dark. For the first time in over half a century, we are leaving low Earth orbit. We are going back to the moon. The headlines call it a historic triumph. But behind closed doors, engineers are holding their breath. Because Artemis II is not a victory lap. It is a high-stakes stress test of a spacecraft that has never kept humans alive before. And there is a critical problem with the heat shield that NASA has not been able to fix. Here is the truth about what these 4 astronauts are flying into. Meet the Orion spacecraft. It is the crown jewel of NASA's Artemis program and the most advanced vehicle ever designed to carry humans beyond Earth. While the Apollo missions were built with the computing power of a modern calculator, Orion is a flying supercomputer wrapped in a radiation-hardened shell. But unlike Apollo, Artemis II is not landing on the lunar surface. Instead, the crew will embark on a 10-day, 685,000-mile journey. They will slingshot around the far side of the moon, traveling deeper into the solar system than any human being has ever gone, before hurtling back toward Earth at 25,000 miles per hour. The 4 people risking their lives on this mission are not ordinary pilots. Commander Reid Wiseman is a Navy test pilot and single father who has already logged 165 days in space. Pilot Victor Glover will become the first black astronaut to ever fly beyond low Earth orbit. Mission specialist Christina Koch holds the record for the longest single spaceflight by a woman at 328 days. She will become the first woman to fly on a lunar mission, and Jeremy Hansen, a fighter pilot from the Canadian Space Agency, will become the first Canadian to leave Earth orbit. These 4 individuals represent a new generation of lunar explorers, but the vehicle they are trusting with their lives has a problem that no amount of training can solve. To reach the moon, the crew must first survive the Van Allen radiation belts. These are massive, invisible bands of highly charged, lethal radiation trapped by Earth's magnetic field. They extend thousands of miles into space, and there is no way around them. Orion's hull is heavily shielded, but the crew will essentially be flying through a radioactive shooting gallery. NASA has teams monitoring the sun around the clock because a single solar particle event during the transit could flood the cabin with dangerous levels of radiation. But radiation is not the biggest threat. The real danger comes at the very end. When Orion returns from the moon, it will slam into Earth's atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour. The friction will generate temperatures exceeding 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Everything depends on one component, the heat shield. And here is what NASA does not want to be the headline. During the uncrewed Artemis I test flight in 2022, the heat shield experienced unexpected charring and significant material loss. Pieces of the protective ablative layer broke off in ways engineers did not predict. NASA has spent 3 years analyzing this failure. But here is the critical detail. They are not replacing the heat shield for Artemis II. The capsule is already built. Instead, their solution is to alter the re-entry trajectory, changing the angle at which Orion hits the atmosphere to reduce stress on the shield. In other words, they are not fixing the shield. They are flying around the problem. In space exploration, the final test always involves human lives. If Artemis II succeeds, it unlocks the next chapter of human civilization. It paves the way for the Lunar Gateway, a permanent space station orbiting the moon. It opens the door to Artemis III, which will put the first woman and the first person of color on the lunar surface. And beyond that, It brings us one step closer to the ultimate goal, putting human boots on Mars. Every great leap in human history required someone to go first, knowing they might not come back. This is not just a rocket launch. This is a species deciding whether it has the courage to leave its cradle. The crew of Artemis 2 already made their choice. The question is, will you be watching when they go? Subscribe for more deep dives into the future of technology and space. And let me know in the comments. Do you think the heat shield will hold?